Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is the long awaited Conquest issue 2. I know it's been a long time since I've uploaded a video. It's been about 4 weeks now, and there's a really good reason behind that. So before we jump into the review, I'd just like to give you I'd just like to let you know sort of what's been going on. So the reason I haven't uploaded is because I've actually been really ill. I've been in hospital with sepsis, and for those of you who don't know what sepsis is basically it's blood poisoning. It's where an infection starts in your body and it then seeps into your blood, and it kind of affects your whole body. It's a really dangerous illness. Thousands of people die from it every year, so I'm quite lucky that I got into hospital and was treated when I was. If not, the outcome could have been quite different. But I'm now recovered, and it's been a few weeks now, but I'm a lot better than I was. Yeah, it was really scary. Not a very nice time, but we're on the road to recovery. Everything's better now, and I'll be able to upload videos for you guys again and get back on track. So yeah, let's jump straight into the review. So like I said, today we are reviewing Conquest issue 2, and today it is all about the Death Guard. I think I've mentioned in my first review that I really do like the Death Guard. I actually have a Death Guard army. They are one of my favouriteest armies. I am very much a sort of chaos girl. I'm not too into the Imperium. I'm not a massive fan of the Emperor. I do sort of follow chaos more. So within issue 2, you get 3 Plague Marines, Death Guard Green, 3 bases for your Plague Marines, and then 6 dice. So my first thoughts on this is the same as the first issue. 3 models, yeah, that's good value. We've only paid $4.99 for this issue, so really good value. You know, the paint in itself, you know, that costs half what the magazine costs. So just the models and the paint in itself, you've already well and truly forgone the cost of the magazine. And the only thing I was a little bit disappointed with was the dice, and it's probably really nitpicky and silly, but I just thought, you know, for the game, 6 dice, it's not going to be enough. But then again, I suppose the magazines, they're just looking at it as they're starting you off. They want you to then go to Games Workshop, and they want you to sort of spend money on, you know, actual packs of dice and more models and things like that. So obviously it is just an introduction, but just like a little bit of a nitpicky thing. I thought they could have give you a bit more dice, or maybe even have thrown in some actual Games Workshop dice. But all in all, without me being too nitpicky, what you get with the magazine, it is still really good value for money. So we'll now jump straight into the magazine, and we'll take a look at the actual Death Guard. So for those of you who don't know who the Death Guard are, they were once loyal space marines to the Imperium. So they were loyal to the Emperor. He was Bad Primarch's father. He created him. You know, they followed him in his crusades across the galaxy, bringing, you know, sort of bringing the Imperial truth across the galaxy. But the Death Guard always sort of felt as though they weren't appreciated, as though they were always sort of chucked out to do the horrible jobs, you know, the jobs with no glory. So because of this, they chose to follow Horus in the Horus Heresy and turn against the Emperor and the Imperium. And that's all explained to you in this page here. So this is a really good page, and I found this page really interesting to read. So in this bit here, you've just got some sort of key points about the Legion. So, you know, they're the Death Guard. Their home world is the Plague Planet. We'll look at that shortly. Their Primarch is Mortarion, the Death Lord. Their first captain is Typhus, Herald of Nurgle. And their specialisms, infantry, firefighters, plague weaponry, and resilience. Their patron god is Nurgle, and their motto is "None for death is silent," which, you know, pretty cool motto. I like it. So yeah, sort of like I said, like I just sort of explained, it just gives you a sort of little quick introduction to who the Death Guard are. And then this is a really cool little piece here as well, just sort of explaining Nurgle. And I'm just going to read this bit to you because I thought this, I really like this. I know I said that, you know, Nurgle's not my favourite god. He's not my favourite god, but I just like this little introduction into him. So, Nurgle is the chaos god of plague and pestilence. He is a generous god who takes cruel delight in blessing all living things with his foul gifts, whether they want them or not. Yet for all his humour, Nurgle is as evil as his brother dark gods and wishes only to see the Imperium reduced to rot and ruin. So Nurgle, he's not like the other gods. He is sort of seen as being a more kind god and to his followers, and he sort of blesses them all with really foul gifts of all manners of like disease, but they're like quite happy in a weird way. So if we just sort of look at this page here, this page is all about the Primarch Mortarion. It's a really cool page and it just gives you a little bit of information on Mortarion. I do want to do something a bit different with this review. I sort of want to like take snippets and read from the magazine. Obviously, if you guys don't want to watch that, then that's fine. I don't want to spoil the magazine for you, but I'm just letting you know now that that is sort of what I'm going to do. So I just want to sort of read this little section here just because it's really interesting and it's really cool. So this is just sort of your introduction into Mortarion and basically what he's all about. So Mortarion was once a mighty war leader of the Imperium, yet he was always poisoned by bitterness and hate, and eventually he turned traitor. He was rewarded by the plague god Nurgle for his rebellion. He and his traitor legion, the Death Guard, were blessed with many strange and horrible powers. Mortarion flies upon huge, ragged wings, wields a mighty scythe, and is surrounded by an aura of plague, so potent that it can slay a space marine in seconds. So yeah, he's pretty powerful. He's got some really, really horrible gifts. The next page, just a quick little look at this page. So this is the Plague Planet. The Plague Planet is just basically a planet that was rewarded to Mortarion by Nurgle, and it's just he's just sort of shaped it like to please his god. So it's all manner of disgusting diseases and rot, and it's just forests of like fungus and all manner of horrible things. Like the atmosphere on the planet's incredibly deadly, so for anybody or any space marines or normal humans to sort of set foot on the planet, they would die. Nobody has ever managed to invade the Plague Planet or even come close to it, and it sort of tells you all this in here, and it's a really good read. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, there's some really good like little key points here and snippets of information which were really good and really interesting. So we are now getting on to the pages that everybody is interested in, and that is the Plague Marines. Obviously, they are the stars of this magazine. They are what we got with it. Really cool. They're probably going to be really cool to paint. I'm really looking forward to painting these because I normally go for a more like sort of dirty white sort of style. So it's going to be interesting to give a go at painting them in this sort of dirty, disease sort of green colour. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm not quite sure how they'll turn out, but we'll see. Obviously you guys will be able to give me any tips and tricks in the comments and let me know what you guys think. So looking at this page, got some really cool artwork here of a Plague Marine. I really like it. You can really see all the corruption, and you know, they are just really, really nasty looking Space Marines. You know, they've got this, you know, all the mutations and corruption and like horns sort of coming out of their head. It's just, they're just vile to look at, but they're so cool. So on this page, it gives you a lot of good information about the Plague Marines. So for anyone who's not too sure, Plague Marines are basically the foot soldiers of the Death Guard. You know, they make up the brute force of the Death Guard, and they are incredibly powerful and incredibly resilient. They don't feel pain, they're fearless, their bodies are just sort of bloated with corruption and disease. Most of the Plague Marines carry rusted and rotten bolt guns and like knives and swords that are just covered in poisons and, you guessed it, diseases. They are all about diseases. Just another page about the Plague Marines. So this is just sort of looking at their armour. All in all, their armour is pretty much the same or similar to your normal Space Marines. Obviously it is corrupted and rotten, it's been blessed with like Nurgle and all Nurgle's gifts, but it is pretty much the same as standard Space Marine armour. So just like in the other video, we're just going to have another quick little run through of the painting. So it's, you know, just your basic equipment that you'll need. You'll need your water pot, your new paint from this issue and your paints from your older issues, and your model. And then the same as in the last magazine, it is just showing you in simple steps how to paint each section, where we're painting each colour, and then what they should look like once you're done. So with this being issue 2, we've now got our 3 Death Guard and our 3 Ultramarines. So we're now in a position where you can have your first battle, and they take you through this in issue 2. So we'll just take a look through these pages, and then I'll be able to give you my opinion on how it's introducing playing the game. So after having a look through, it only shows you 3 phases. So it shows you your movement, your shooting phase, and the wounding phase, which isn't probably a bad start. It tells you all your basics. So a quick little look at your basic rules. So you move and then you shoot, and then the other player gets to move and shoot. So it sort of explains to you that it is a turn-based game. And then it takes us on to the movement phase. So it's really, really basic stuff. It's sort of explaining that they move up to 6 inches, and it sort of shows the containers and that being obstacles and that you have to go around them. So it's really, really basic stuff, quite easy to follow, nothing too complicated. Oh, this is something I didn't realise that it had in, I may have skipped over, was advancing. So it's also explaining that there is a sort of second movement phase, but if you choose to do this movement phase, you can't then shoot. So it's all really, really simple stuff, and it's not hard stuff to remember or to follow. So for young children, it would be actually quite easy to grasp and quite easy to get. And it's exactly the same with the shooting. It sort of explains, you know, that you've only got a certain range you can shoot, and then it sort of it then goes on to explain the wounding. So it then explains what the dice is for, and that you have to roll said numbers to hit and then said numbers to move. And it's all sort of given here in stats, and it sort of gives you a brief little bit of know-how into the stats and what they are. And then on the last page here, it's sort of showing different weapons you could add in and the different rules and how you would apply them to the game once you have played it for a few times and you are confident with it. For myself learning how to play the game, my friends actually taught me how to play, and I suppose he taught me how to play in a similar way to this. So the only difference was we didn't play with just like individual models, we still had units. So, and it was probably a little bit more complicated than that, but still really simplified down. When I was learning how to play Warhammer 40k, and when my friend was sort of teaching me it, we would sort of do it so I'd have 2 units and a HQ. So for example, I would have, I think, remembering the first time I ever played, I think I had 5 Chaos Space Marines and 5 Berserkers, and then a Chaos Champion, and he sort of had 2 units of 5 Space Wolves, and then, you know, a sort of Space Wolf captain. And there was no extra rules involved. It was just really, really basic, and he just sort of showed me, right, you can move 6 inches. So I'd done that, and then he'd sort of explained to me that I could shoot once I'd moved. So that was obviously the next thing I'd do. And then he taught me how to roll to hit and roll to wound. And obviously that's how we played it, and he'd show me that you could keep moving until you got into a combat phase, and then it would be exactly the same as in the shooting phase. You'd then sort of roll the dice to hit and wound, and then they could roll to make saves, and sort of introduced it to me in sort of bite-sized pieces until eventually we were playing massive sort of you know, 1200, 1500 point battles. But yeah, that's just sort of a little quick snippet into my history of playing 40k. So my overall opinion of Conquest issue 2 is, yeah, I'm still really liking the magazine. I still think it's really good. It's full of information about the armies that you're playing with. It then goes on to give you snippets of painting. I would still like more detail early on, but in regards to people who are very new to the hobby and are young, or just don't, you know, they're not very artistic and they don't have a wide skill set when it comes to painting, it is really, really good, useful snippets of information. The tutorials on how to play the game I thought were really good. It's really basic, it's, you know, really easy to grasp. There's no overly complicated rules, and I'm sure as we get into the later issues, they will start adding in the rules for like individual characters and individual units, that they have all these special rules and special abilities and special weapons that you can use. I'm sure that's all going to come in later issues. That's it for the review today, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. I hope you found all the information interesting, and I hope you liked having a quick look at the magazine with me. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel. I am on Instagram, so please follow me here on Instagram. And before we go, I'd just like to say a massive thank you for all the support on the channel, for everybody that's subscribed, and all the fantastic and wonderful comments you've all left in the previous videos. That's it for the video today then, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.